Hi guys, welcome to Sons of Cain. This is the second video in our exercise range that we're doing, and it's the Qigong exercises part 2.
For those of you who've seen this one, you probably guess we are still learning. As I say, I've been doing this since '93. I could spend a whole hour just talking about one of these exercises, so please forgive me, we're just trying to give you ideas so you can progress forward. This is the second part. I'm just going to do another 5. As you know, there are loads of these techniques, but what we want you to do is find the ones which work for you and which adapt well to suit your ability.
If you haven't seen the first video, we'll put a little link up here. Go and have a look at it before you look at this one.
Okay, the next exercise I'm looking at, we call it hip rotations, but it's not really a rotation. Nice planted stance as always, nice soft crunched in body. We're just going to move the hips from side to side. We're going to let our arms just relax, so we're not physically doing anything with the arms. We're just pushing off our feet. We've done this a few times, and just letting our arms go. And as we get around to a rotation, we're going to drop the weight on our supporting leg and raise the toes. I'm not thinking about my arms, all I'm thinking about is my hips rotating, trying to keep them level and dropping my weight onto my back leg and let my toes lift up. We're doing this with the cane. You can see straight away you've got some nice swings, but what I'm not doing is putting any effort into my arms. It's all coming up from the ground, from my foot, hips and my core rotation. I'm not thinking about my arms. So I'm just allowing this to swing. As you can see, I'm having to let it wrap around my body because you actually generate quite a lot of momentum and power without really generating any force from using your arms.
With this exercise you can see there's a lot of feet, hips, knees and body turning, and in a wheelchair it's quite hard. You can get the same sort of motion going, but what I'm doing is rocking backwards and forwards to bring that arm movement in. I'm using my core to sort of like release the core, grab the core, release, grab. So it does give you that extra momentum because I'm not really putting any much movement into my arms. It's all from upper chest and core muscle, just letting it go. When we bring the cane in, you can still get the same motion going. But even with stabilisers on, I can feel the front wheels lifting in my chair. So just be careful when you do this. Start off slow, build yourself up with your speed.
With this next one, just to start with, we just bounce our knees and then we let our arms bounce in time with our knees. So we're getting this rhythm going. And then we're going to add the last exercise we did to this. So as we're coming up, our arms come up, and we're going to swing to the side. So it's up. The leg that you're balancing on is that arm goes forward and your other arm goes backwards. So it's coming up and through. It looks remarkably easy, but it's all about getting a nice rhythm. Relaxing the shoulders, getting the core to move. Very similar with the cane. Bringing the cane up and flicking through, flicking back. And straight away, I can actually hear the wind because it's actually generating quite a lot of power. Again, it's not being generated through my arm, it's coming up through the ground, through the core, and through the chest. So on the other side, flicking back, up, flicking up. Once you get the rhythm of this, it's actually quite a nice little exercise to practice. And again, it's getting all of your body mechanics moving, so you're generating a lot of power without expending a lot of energy.
As you can see from that bit with Chris, it's going to be virtually impossible in a wheelchair. To bring your hands across, I'm going to hit my knees, the chair's in the way, you can't really get that sort of momentum going. But if you look at the sun gods and a couple of other exercises we've got that will be coming up, you'll get that rise and drop going. So you can actually generate the power for the rise and the drop, but just using the core, your shoulders, your chest and your back.
With all these exercises that we've done, as you can see, they're very, very low impact exercises. So they do actually help generate rehabilitation, and the movement gets bigger and greater. So if you've got restricted movement, it'll actually become larger and quite often less painful the more you progress. So don't think you need to do these exact with this full range of motions. You might just be doing a short motion to start with, and then it extends out. Okay, next one, when we officially got the handbook for this, there was a typo. It was actually called the Flying Wind Goose, which ended up with lots of hilarity from our part. But it's Flying Wild Goose. So shoulder width stance, nice and soft and relaxed, and you bring the arms up, then just dropping them down. And then as you're doing this, you're actually bringing the knees in. Again, it's one of those ones, it looks a bit bizarre to start with, but once you start looking at the bunkai, it's actually a very, very good technique to use. If I'm doing this with the cane, if I just use my arm for this, you can actually see the motion here. So I'm getting my wrist to come up and drop. There's not a lot of pressure on there, it's a loose grip, but I'm getting this whipping motion again. So I'm generating power without using a lot of physical strength. If I start bringing my arm in, you can actually get more power, bring the knees and the core into it as well, and then you can get higher, bending the knees lower, and what you'll find is you'll get a lot more power for a lot less effort as usual, but you will find it will start affecting your shoulders, and you can feel the strength building up in your shoulders as you do this.
With this exercise we're going to be looking at the core, the shoulders. So as Chris said, you bring your arms up and you just let them drop, which is quite good. With the cane, bringing it up, Chris mentioned the wrist movement. If you haven't seen our video about warm-ups before doing the cane, please watch it. We've actually had seasoned martial artists that have had wrist injuries lately because they didn't warm up before they started using the cane or bokkens or anything like that. So before you start anything with the cane, remember to do the exercises.
This next exercise is called Repulse the Monkey. I've been shown lots of different ways to do this, as with all of these, but it starts one arm out, the other arm at the back, and the rear arm comes over in a circular scooping motion. Your palms cross without touching, and you extend out. Now, I was taught to follow the hand that goes to the rear. Other people have told me to track the hand that goes to the front. Either way is fine, but it's not a straight line. The hand comes over, passes and scoops out. So it's actually a big curving motion. So the way we've done it is to scoop, extend out, and look behind. If you want to follow and track to the front, there's nothing wrong with that. Very difficult, as you see, I was trying to, but my head instinctively went to the rear. So just try and track the hand that you're looking for. But you'll see from the side, you've got this scooping in, scooping out. With the cane, again, depending on the grip, will depend on how the technique will work for you. But if I'm here, it comes in, you can see the tip coming over, round, and I've got this strike here. So rather than being a linear strike, you're getting this scooping strike from there. So pulling out, coming over, so this is circular motion over, goes towards the palm, rotating round with that strike there. Change the grip, you'll get a different technique.
With the wheelchair, again, we've got another obstacle with the back. We're not going to be able to turn our body as much as they're bodied. But you've still got the same principle. As it comes over, turns, scoops, hand comes back. As you can see, it's pretty difficult for me to actually get that proper motion going. But start off small. You can just start off like here, just getting that motion going. And the same with the cane. It comes through, strikes up, strikes up, strikes up. As with all the exercises we're showing you, start off small, Start off gentle. Build it up as you feel confident. Some people have got lower backs on their chairs than I have. Some people haven't got the side rests, so you get far more movement left and right. If you've been in the chair for some time, you tend to become the chair. Your body seems to be moulded, and any movement other than being in the chair is painful. But you'll find that these exercises will build up your range of motion, and as you build up your range of motion, you're going to then find that you're getting a little bit stronger each time, and then the movement's getting a little bit larger each time.
Right, with this one, this is a static exercise. This is one of 5 that can be done. I like this one. So my feet are parallel, and what you've got to imagine is you're holding like a large beach ball or a barrel. So I'm just going to bend my knees, pull my hips up by pulling my core in, relaxing my shoulders. But what I'm going to ask Callum to do, if he comes round. Yeah. So when I'm here, what Callum's going to do is apply pressure, either pushing down, across or pulse. He's not going to try and physically drive me into the ground. So as I'm here, I'm trying to keep my centre line straight. He's just going to apply a bit of pressure onto my arm. So say he pulls my arm. So as he's pulling, what I'm not trying to do is resist him, but what I'm not doing is this wrenching motion. What I'm doing is actually rooting to the floor, pulling with my core. So it's just a slight, so as he's pulling, I'm physically trying not to move. He then might try and push, so he's trying to change direction. I'm doing exactly the same. So he might, say, come around the back, pull, doesn't matter. With the cane, you can do exactly the same. You can either hold it across, or actually physically hold the cane, but this time he's got something else to hold on to. So I'm going to root myself down, keep my spine nice and straight, but I'm trying to retain the cane without physically trying to drive everything in. I'm trying to hold on by my core. So as I'm there, he's pushing, I'm resisting, but I'm trying to do the minimum amount of movement without getting off balance. So you can practice this. The idea is to be able to stand there for about 20 minutes without moving.
With the wheelchair, I'm going to use a different set of muscles. So I've come back in, I've got myself centred. Now Chris is going to come in. All I'm using is my core muscles. With this, you're going to find your core start to tighten. Push yourself into your chair. Imagine there's a great weight on top of your head and it's pushing you deep into the chair, and you'll find the exercise a lot easier.
So, last one we're going to do. As I said before, there are loads of these exercises, but this is figure of 8. So, without the cane, if you imagine you're leading with the heels of your hands. So, in your centre at the front is the lowest point, and the highest points are going to be over your right shoulder and your left shoulder. So if you imagine, I was told to imagine light coming out the palms, and you're painting with this light coming out your hands. So as it comes high, as it comes back to the centre, this is your lowest point, then your palms will turn to paint in the other direction. And this will be a flow. You can see my knees are flexing, my hips are twisting, my shoulders are twisting to accommodate it. The second version is to imagine you're holding a ball. This may sound, well, it's the same exercises, but it leads on to different techniques. But it's exactly the same. You're holding this ball, low point, high point, and it's constant motion. The last way, which is actually from our form, is your palm is open and flat, and your other hand, you brought your fingertips together. So you're leading with the back of your hand, with the hand that's going back, and you're following it with your palm. And as it comes back the other way, you're swapping. So same exercise, 3 different hand positions, and they'll give you 3 different techniques. I do like the figure of 8 technique with the cane. Nothing's changed. If you want to practice it with the cane, you've got the same technique. So you're not using your arms as much as you would normally. It's all coming from the legs, up from the ground, into the core, and up through your power zone. It's just a different way of doing the same exercises. But this, doing it this way round, gives you different techniques, which is always what we're looking for. So this is more for close-in work rather than the standard keep clear distance work.
As you can see with these exercises, the part 2's got a little bit more difficult for us in wheelchairs. Also, let's look at other things we've got. Some people may have had a stroke. They may have a limb that is actually unusable or has very limited range of motion. But this, I believe, is a very good exercise for physio. Now, if you've got a small range of motion, you just start off very small. There's the figure of 8. It's just going through. If you have a weak limb, you can hold one hand in the other and just basically make an 8 on its side in front of you. This will help. This will stop the muscles from seizing, it will stop the joints from seizing, and it will just start giving you a little bit of mobility back in your system. Now with Chris, you've got the different hand positions, but you can just start off by following the back of your hand. Build it up. When it comes to the cane, again, you can actually figure of 8 with the cane in front of you. If you've got one hand on the cane, you can just do the 8 motion. All I'm doing is just rolling the wrist as we're coming through. Again, if you've got a hand weakness, one hand on top of the other. This will just keep the body moving and start to loosen up joints, get your other hand involved. So look at your disability, look at your range of motion and adapt to what you need. The principle's the same, whether you're doing the full sort of range going through, dropping. We just use our core, we use our back muscles with shoulders, and we just literally start off small and build up to get the size going. Thanks for watching, guys. We hope you like this video. Again, it's part of a series that we're going to be doing. Leave us a comment down below, give us a thumbs up if you like the video.
If you haven't already done so, please subscribe. Don't forget that sharing is caring, and as we like to say, peace, unity, love, having fun. Ring the bell, free the fear.